Round one of the BTRDA hadn't got off to the best of starts. Icy conditions caused an early end to the season open of the Cambrian, much to the relief of some crews, especially those who didn't make it beyond the pre-event testing. So round two becomes effectively round one as the scoring changes and the slate is wiped clean. The championship heads north then to Cumbria and to the Malcolm Wilson Rally, and the challenging Lake District stages await the crews. David Bogey leads the BTRDA Challengers away, followed by Luke Francis, one of a few glad for the clean slate at this early stage. Dave Bennett is another welcome return for the championship, this time with a little more power and in the Silver Star. The morning gives the crews a tough challenge. 4 stages in total with a mix of conditions expected. And it all starts with stage 1 in Hobcarton. On to the morning stages then, and it will be the early lead for David Bogey and Kevin Ray, taking a 26-second advantage at this stage in the rally. For Desi Henry and Liam Moynihan, it will be second, the pair making it a Skoda 1-2 at the top for now, but the times were close. Henry would have just 4 seconds of an advantage in that position over previous BTRDA champions Ewan Thorburn and Paul Beaton. Back together again, and those places could be about to change, with Thorburn always quick in the Grisdale stages coming up after service. Sadly, we'd lose Stephen Petch and Michael Wilkinson in stage 4. Electrical problems would force their retirement, but the pace prior to that in the new car was certainly looking good for a championship fight this season. After engine failure stopped them from reaching the starting Llandudno, Hugh Hunter and Rob Fagg would be glad of the second chance offered by the opening round cancellation. They make a good start here, making the most of it, lying in 4th place over the morning stages. Luke Francis and John Roberts would be another crew not making it to the start of the opening round. This weekend, though, is going much better with 5th place overall and a good lead in the B13 class. David Wright and Steve Pugh would end the morning in 6th, just 2 seconds behind Francis. David's home event, but not always one he'd had good luck on. Things for now, though, seemed to be going well. Rhys Yates returns to the series, this time with current BTRDA champion co-driver Carl Williamson alongside. 7th place for the pair at this stage and 3 seconds back from Wright. Last year's Malcolm Wilson Rally ended in a watery ditch for Conor McCloskey. He returns this year with John Rowan alongside and a new car. A steady start would see him lying in 8th place overall. Some promising times towards the end of last season showed Callum Black and Elliot Edmondson as potential contenders for the BTRDA title. This weekend would be a little slower out of the blocks, with 9th place overall, but the times were starting to look there or thereabouts. And rounding out the top 10 at this stage were Wayne Sisson and Neil Shanks, the pair lying 2nd in the B13 class with this result too. Just taking a look at some of the classes outside of our top 10, and it will be 3rd in the B13 class for Ian Joel and Graham Wood, just a single second behind Sisson for that class position and a place in the top 10. With a strong entry, the NR4 class will be fought outside the top 10 at this round, with Richard Hill and Stefan Evans taking the number 1 position at the halfway point. The class was as close as always, though, with Sasha Kakad and James Aldridge lying 2nd in the battle now, just 6 seconds back from Hill. And for Russ Thompson and Andy Murphy, it will be 3rd, just a further 4 seconds back. However, a puncture in the 2nd stage of the day would lose the pair some valuable time. In the Silver Star, it will be the early lead for Jody Bocott and David Millard, returning this season with some changes to the car and clearly contenders for that Silver Star category. 15 seconds was the advantage at the end of the morning stages. Ashley Davies and Sam Fordham had a clear and bold plan for 2017 to win the Silver Star trophy. It may have been ambitious, but things were certainly looking good this weekend with that 2nd place for now. Dave Bennett and Alistair McNeil return to the BTRDA and bring out a more powerful version of the Corsa, fighting in the Silver Star this time out and the B10 class. The times looked good, as though they'd never left, in fact, lying 3rd at this stage in the rally. For Steve Hopewell and Clive Jones, it would be 4th place. The times were close as well, just 4 seconds back from Bennett, the pair lying 2nd in the B11 class too. Rob Dennis and Andrew Boswell will be the highest place of the historic crews in the Silver Star at the midpoint, leading the way in the H3 class as well as lying in 5th place on the overall leaderboard. And Andy Davison and Tom Murphy will be having a much better run than their Cambrian rally, where they stopped in stage 1 before the event was cancelled. Another pair to be gaining from that cancellation then. This weekend, though, going much more to plan, with 6th place in the category. The Fiesta STs will be back out in force again this year. More from those in a separate show on our social media channel. But at the midway point in the rally, it will be Sam Billam and Cameron Fair leading the way from 7th place. They would have Jody McManus and John Armstrong close behind them in the class and overall results, as the pair lie in 8th place for now. And Mark and Ed Bentley will be the 2nd of our historic crews in the top of the results here this weekend. 2nd place in the H3 class for the pair in that escort. And rounding out the Silver Star top 10 will be Barry Jordan and James Grattan-Smith. 2nd in the B10 class would also be theirs at this stage in the rally. In the classes outside of the top 10, it will be 3rd in the N3 class for Richard Wells and Calvin Holdsworth, the pair just 12 seconds outside the top 10 in 11th. Colin and Martin Griffiths were having a good run around the stages to take 2nd place in the B12 class, the BMW providing some entertainment for the spectators on its way to that position so far. For William Hill and Richard Crozier, meanwhile, it will be the final step on the podium in that B10 class at this stage, just over 30 seconds back from Barry Jordan up ahead in the class. And in the H2 class, it will be David Dobson and David Hurst taking the lead at this stage. A small advantage in the class for the pair after stage 4. It would be an advantage of 10 seconds over this man, Steve Ward, with Mike Crawford alongside. The times were close enough for a push in the next loop of stages. And rounding out the podium places in the class at this stage was Simon Pickering and Siobhan Pugh, 3rd in the H2 class for the pair at this stage. This season would see the 1400s able to score points in the Silver Star category for the first time. And for Dave Brick and Rob Woodhouse, it will be the lead of the 1400s, with times good enough to put them 2nd in the Silver Star. Impressive stuff. For the purpose of our coverage, we'll keep the 1400s separate, but these performances will be ones to watch when it comes to the points tables later in the season. For Chris Powell and Jim Lewis, it will be 2nd place in the 1400s, back out in the Sunbeam once again this season, and lying just 10 seconds back from Brick. Steve Green and Michael Gilmore join in the battle for the 1400s on this round, 9 seconds further back from Powell, the micro pair pushing hard to get themselves further up the leaderboard going into the afternoon stages. For Neil Weaver and Jessica Hockley, it will be 4th. The times will be a further 12 seconds back from the micro up ahead in the overall and class results though. And for Ed Fossey and Chris Sharp-Simkis, it will be 5th. Lucky to even still be going at this stage though, after briefly getting stuck in a stage 1 ditch and losing a handful of time getting it out of there. And the lead in the 1400 C class this morning will belong to Carl Davies and Richard Jones. They lead the class from 7th place overall in the 1400s. Once again, we're covering the Rally First category this season. And in Rally First, it will be the Puma of Andrew Wheatley and Heather Grisdale taking the early advantage. The M Sport employees going well on their home event. Their lead will be 45 seconds over Bart Lang and Sinclair Young, returning to the championship after some time away, and the time's looking good for the pair at this stage. For David Perkins and Chris Spilstead, meanwhile, it will be the 3rd step on the podium at this stage in that micro, just over a minute back from Lang up ahead. So we reach the midway point in the rally and it is still all to play for. David Bokey leading the way overall, with Jody Bocott taking control of the Silver Star cruise. Dave Brick commands a small lead in the 1400 battle, and it's the home advantage for Wheatley in the morning stages. The afternoon would see 3 stages for the crews to tackle, including a return to Greystoke after a rundown for 2 stages in Grisdale Forest. Onto the afternoon stages, and there will be no change to the results in the Rally First category. David Perkins and Chris Spilstead finishing with third place there. And indeed, no change either to second place. Bart Lang, Sinclair Young taking second place on their return to the series. An impressive performance so far. But that means there is victory for Andrew Wheatley and Heather Grisdale. First place in the Rally First category this weekend, but would we see more outings for the pair throughout the season? In the 1400s, it will be fifth place at the end of the rally for Freddie and Toby Brick, the Corsa pair moving into that position through the afternoon stages. There's no change to the 1400 C-Class lead at the end of the rally. Carl Davies and Richard Jones taking that win, as well as moving up to take fourth place in the 1400s overall too. It's frustration though for Dave Brick and Rob Woodhouse. The victory wasn't to be. They slipped down the results in these stages to end the rally with third place. There wouldn't be any change in pace or position for Chris Powell and Jim Lewis, however. They still remain second place in the category to finish the rally. But that does mean that it will be the 1400 win for Steve Green and Michael Gilmore. A good lead as well of almost 30 seconds by the finish would secure that victory for the micro pair.
100, middle over flat crest, 200, middle over flat crest, 200, and turn late one right, so 200 to turn late one right. 80, caution, one left tightens neat, 80 caution, one left tightens neat, and fast two right, into 5 left, fast two right here, into 5 left, and fast two right, into 2 left past junction, and 2 left again, into neat 1 right, 2 left here, and neat 1 right.
Not too bad. It wasn't so great on the first few stages, being a bit steady on the first few stages, trying to get up the uphill hairpins without snapping shafts like we did last year. Went fairly well down the downhill bits, but lost a bit of time in Greystoke. But I think in Grisdale we had a fairly good run in the fog, so I think that's what won. I don't know what happened to Dave in that stage, but I think he lost quite a lot of time. So.
On we go then to the Silver Star, and it will be a third place in class finish for Alan Mayhew and Brian Newton this weekend, bringing that escort home in 18th place. For Simon Pickering and Siobhan Pugh, it will be 16th place in the category. They also take second in the H2 class with that result. For Bob Vardy and Simon Rogers, there will be a little time lost through the afternoon stages. This spin not helping their overall times at the end of the rally. They do, though, manage to get things pointing in the right direction again to get to the end of the day with third place in the B10 class. It's a good result this weekend for David Dobson and David Hurst as they take the H2 class win here in Cumbria. A good end to a steady rally for the pair. And Richard Wells and Calvin Holdsworth just miss out on the top 10 overall, settling for 11th. They also take third place in the N3 class as well with that result. So on to that top 10 then, and it will be Alistair Curry and Stephen Brown bringing that place home, finishing 29 seconds ahead of Wells in the class and overall results. Colin and Martin Griffiths continue to entertain the crowds in the stages in that BMW, ending the rally with 9th place on the leaderboard, second in the B12 class. And Barry Jordan and James Grattan-Smith have a good, steady run to take 8th position. They keep hold of their second place in the B10 class with that result too. For Steve Hopewell and Clive Jones, it will be 7th. The pair have a good afternoon to take that position, as well as taking second in the B11 class. Rob Dennis and Andrew Boswell would continue to put in some good times. Sadly, it wouldn't be enough to keep them in the lead of the historic class. They take second place in H3 this weekend. They'd be beaten to the class win by these guys, Mark and Ed Bentley, first in the H3 class and ending the event with 5th place overall. Sam Billum and Cameron Fair have a good run in the Fiestas, staking their claim on the championship perhaps, taking the N3 class victory with just a small amount of damage to the bodywork from the final stage to show that they were trying. The battle at the top of Silverstar was a close one though. Ashley Davies and Sam Fordham settling on third place at the end of the rally. The times were close, just 14 seconds separating the podium positions. Dave Bennett and Alistair McNeil will be an impressive second place in the category. A good return with the new car, and there would surely be a win to come for the pair later in the season if they could keep that pace up. But for this weekend, it will be victory for Jody Bocott and David Millard. They take that win by the smallest of margins, just 2 seconds separating the top two by the finish here in Cumbria.
First event in the car for us this year. We didn't enter the Cambrian, but obviously it wasn't too. We didn't lose too much. Not doing the Cambrian, as everybody knows. But no, it's been a great event. We've done a lot of work on the car in the closed season, rewiring, new box, etc. So no, it's gone well, considering.
In the Gold Star, there will be change to the results. We lose Luke Francis and John Roberts from the top. Problems with the car dropping them down to 17th overall. So change in the B13 class, of course, means that it will be third place in the class for Fred Milne and Chris Williams at the finish, ending the rally with 15th position too. No change for Russ Thompson and Andy Murphy though. They take third place in the Group N battle. The tyres in the afternoon stages probably not lasting as well as they'd hoped. And there'd be change for Richard Hill and Stefan Evans. Sadly, they wouldn't keep hold of the lead. For them, it will be second place in the class by the finish of the rally. So that would mean the first Group N victory of the season goes to Sasha Kakad and James Aldridge. They take the win in that class, as well as finishing just outside the overall top 10 in 11th. So on to that top 10 then, and it will be 10th place for Ian Joel and Graham Wood. A good result for the pair against some stiff competition this weekend, moving up into the top 10 and also taking second in the B13 class. For Tom Preston and Andrew Roughhead, it will be 9th, ending the rally just 7 seconds ahead of Joel in the overall results. And Rory Young and Alan Cathers step up the results in the afternoon stages to end the rally with 8th place overall and 7th in the extremely well-represented B14 class. For Wayne Sisson and Neil Shanks, it will be the B13 victory. They'd have a good run in the Evo to take that position and end the day with 7th overall. Conor McCloskey and John Rowan make it through the rally without any of the dramas of last year repeating themselves. They end the day with 6th place overall and in the class, a solid return to the BTRDA for the Irishman. Callum Black and Elliot Edmondson put in some good times over the afternoon stages to climb up the leaderboard. 5th place at the finish was a good way to end the event and show the pace they had going into the next round of the championship.
And 4 right. Left over 60, turn deceptive, 1 right over crest, careful. 40. 3 left plus long, 80. 4 left plus. Into flat 5 right short, 60. Flat 6 left plus, don't, into 5 right minus in. And slowing 6 left plus, crest into 2 left in. 3 right. Into flat 5 left, into flat 5 right over mud. And 6 left, into 4 right plus, tightens 2 over crest. And flat 6 left long. Into small 5 crest and slowing 5 right, 40, turn 1 right long. 60. Shortish, 5 right plus. Into flat 6 left over crest. Into 5 left plus, in over crest, 40.
For Rhys Yates and Carl Williamson, it will be 4th. The times will be fairly close around this point on the leaderboard, missing out on the podium places by just 16 seconds. So we move on to the podium places, and it will be the final step on that podium for Hugh Hunter and Rob Fagg. Happy with the pace this weekend and a boost in confidence ahead of the rest of the season and hopefully a full championship campaign. It's a good result for David Wright and Steve Pugh this weekend. and it would be welcomed as well, putting aside the demons from previous years here. Second place at the finish showed that the pace was good, beating Hunter to that position by just 4 seconds. The cars, and indeed the drivers, so evenly matched this weekend. Perhaps that 4 seconds could be put down to the home fans cheering right on. But taking victory this weekend would be David Bogie and Kevin Ray. They seemed to be in a league of their own into the second half of the day, taking victory by over a minute and a half and having a good, tidy and trouble-free run to start their season.
Yeah, of course, we came here as preparation for the Border Counties Rally, which is the first British Championship round. So, you know, it's been really good to come away with a win. You know, it sets us up really nice for going into that championship. Stages were very difficult, you know, a lot of standing water, muddy logging conditions, and just very, very difficult conditions. So, real driver stages, especially the 2 Grisdale stages, and yeah, just a really good day out. Cars never missed a beat, tyres have been great, and just, yeah, spot on day.
So confirmation then of the results here at the Malcolm Wilson Rally. David Bogie taking that #1 spot, with Jody Bocott claiming the Silver Star win. Steve Green and Andrew Wheatley making them M-Sport dominance in the 1400 and Rally First categories. So the championship points, of course, reflect the results this weekend. David Bogie leading the way with maximum points here in Cumbria. Next up for the BTRDA Cruise is the most southerly event in the calendar. The Somerset Stages is on the 8th of April, and we'll be there. If you can't join us for the event, join us for the TV show, online and on TV soon afterwards.